All right, hi there. Welcome to this live. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. Let me just make sure everything is working. Perfect. There you go. Now you can see my Evernote. And let's just double check a couple of things. I know people are going to kind of pop in. I got to get my cursor working. Hold on. Welcome, you guys. I'm going to get started in just a second, and we're going to go for up to 45 minutes. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. And as I get to the end of the training, I will be happy to kind of review that and answer your questions as we go along. I just have to get a couple of things set. Hold on just a second. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to this Evernote update. I am going to, well, first of all, I'm Stacey Harmon. I am an Evernote certified expert, and my business, Harmon Enterprises, teaches you everything there is to know about Evernote, helps you also get digitally organized and more productive along the way. And I am going to do something today that hopefully teaches you something about Evernote's latest features. So what Evernote does is generally on a monthly basis, they go through and they post a quick recap video on their YouTube channel. And those videos are great for keeping up with kind of what's happening, but they're typically a really edited short version summary recap of the features. And they sometimes demo them, but not always. And what I'm going to do in this training is go through the process of what they presented and actually show it to you in Evernote. And then if there are any questions, you can ask them along the way as well. So hopefully it'll give you a little more experience with what the new features in Evernote are. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is show you a feature that hopefully you're already using, and we're going to use it to demonstrate some of the evolution of Evernote. And that is the meeting recorder. So if I go here and I go to record, and I'm going to record a remote program here, or remote recording, you can see that it's actually starting to record my audio here. If we were in a multi-user room like Zoom or Gmail, something along those lines, it would be recording everything that's going on. And I'm just going to kind of let this run because it's going to help me to show you some of the things that they've been doing to innovate on this very powerful feature along the way. So feel free also, one of the things I would suggest is that you all do what I just did in your Evernote account. So you can kind of hear what I'm saying, watch it transcribe, and test out some of these updates on your own. Okay, so let's go through what is happening here. The first is, you might have noticed it in your desktop app down here, the notifications window. And I'm going to actually turn this on, see if that will help you all a little bit. I know sometimes it can be small. You can always increase the size of your screen to try to enlarge it if you're having trouble seeing it on your phone. You might have to watch the replay. But here you go. Down here, there's a little notifications area, and Evernote has linked to this YouTube video that they did talking about what's new, 20 plus new features and improvements across AI editing and mobile, plus the arrival of tabs. Watch the latest video, see the updates. So I went to YouTube, I copy and pasted that YouTube video here in the interface, and I went through and I actually went through all the features, made a list of them, and now I'm going to demo them for you. You can certainly watch the recap video on your own time though as well. All right, so the first one that I want to cover here is the improvements that they've made to AI meeting notes. So the very first one's a huge improvement, which is this audio transcription. So we're recording this meeting. This can now, once it's done, be transcribed. And then you can do different things with that text, right? There was a limit of 1 hour in terms of how much it could transcribe. And let me just be clear, it will record more than the limit. It won't transcribe more than the limit. So they have increased it from 1 hour to 2 hours. So audio recordings and transcription limit has doubled from 1 hour to 2 hours, which is really great because a lot of people have 1 hour meetings or 90-minute meetings. And now once you stop the recording, it will allow you to then transcribe the whole meeting as long as it falls under the 2 hour limit. All right, so big improvement. We thank Evernote for that, and really a nice improvement. The second thing is you have the ability to regenerate transcriptions or switch languages and add speaker recognition. I'll demo that for you in a second. We can also choose our transcription language. We get a little visual indicator of how long things are going to take to transcribe. That's actually really helpful as well. They've revamped the player UI with faster controls and clearer indications for active transcription mode. And they have changed the format of the recording itself. So it used to be WebM. Now it's an MP3 file on the recordings that Evernote's making. So this video that is getting recorded right here is an MP3, and I'll demo that for you. That's good news for those of you, especially on Mac. You have more portability and compatibility of the audio clip with more devices. So nice little change there. And the ability to start the recording has been added in a new spot as well. All right, so let me illustrate these now that we've talked about them. If I go here and I stop the recording, you can see now I've got the recording here. I'm going to go ahead and let's drag this down to the interface. I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to go ahead and transcribe. So now you can see here, when I hit transcribe, I have the opportunity to turn speaker recognition off. Here's the language selector. You can auto detect, which is what I advise. But if you want to have it transcribe or translate into different languages, we've got a big long list right here. And then you just hit the transcribe button. Here's that 5 second, 4 second, 3 second. There's that countdown that we are now seeing. And then you can see that the transcript has been generated right here as well. So almost there. It's telling me, it's letting me know. And that's helpful, especially on longer transcriptions. We now have the ability to see how long it is. It's also, you can see here, so doubled. I've fallen under 2 hours, no problem. Say I'm not happy with this and I want to regenerate it. You can see here, there's a bunch of new options. So now I can regenerate the transcription. I can delete the transcription. I can rename the file right here. You know, there's a lot of options. Some of these existed before, but I want to encourage you to look under this little overflow menu. It's called the More Actions menu or More Options menu. And you have these options now, regenerate the transcript. You can also see that there's some nice paragraph formatting that's been added. So this is an improvement that they discussed that's been a good opportunity. And that is visible here. So this is very readable, right? We like that. We can choose the transcription language, which I kind of had talked to you about here. This is under the little gear icon. Speaker recognition, you could turn it on or off. There's no value in doing speaker recognition when I'm the only speaker, but so I don't have it turned on. But here, if you want to change the language, you can do that as well. Okay, estimated time, I showed you that. The revamped audio player, the faster controls and clearer indication, okay, of the transcription mode, great. You can see that it's an MP3 file right there. So if I wanted to download it, it would save it as a .mp3 and I could rename it whatever I wanted. And then, let's see. Obviously, the summary too, I think they're doing a pretty good job of the summary transcription, but again, you could clear that if you wanted. I could regenerate the summary or delete the summary transcription or summary, okay? Lots of options, lots of nice improvements, and then we can certainly collapse it right there as well. All right, let's talk about the ability to start recordings from a calendar event notification. Hopefully you're using this. What they're doing is, this is such a functional feature. They're adding more entry points to how we can access it. So you saw me, type in the note editor record, and you can see it came up there. We have options up here, this little icon. And now if you use the calendar function, and you have your settings set up properly. Okay, this is something I'm not going to go into exactly how to set up here. We cover it inside the Academy in detail, and you may or may not have ease in setting this up because it's contingent on some of your settings and your notifications, etc. But it's very functional to connect your calendar. I have, say, a Google Calendar with Evernote, and my meetings that I put in Google Calendar show in my calendar here. This is my demo account, but you can see there's like a meeting right here. And when that meeting happens, I have it set to have a little flyover notification come in and warn me, no matter what app I'm in, that my meeting's starting in a few minutes. So you can see that there's a new option. Let me go back here. I just wanted to navigate there. That's buggy. Okay, so we'll just go here. This is an example of a meeting I had earlier today. I'm going to show you here. This little flyover notification from Evernote. Does it want to create a meeting note for an upcoming meeting that I had at noon? And you can see under options, I can choose to start recording. It's going to go into Evernote, start a new note, and begin the recording process so that I'm capturing the content from that call. All right, so that's a new little entry point. Very nice. Hopefully those of you that were paying attention notice that there's also the opportunity up here for new recording. So again, all kinds of entry points into this really powerful feature. All right, let me, I don't know why that's not opening. Open a new tab. Let's try it. So that's a little bit of a preview on what I'm going to get to in just a little minute, but those are the AI meeting note improvements. All right, semantic search. So this is one of Evernote's AI features, and semantic and standard search results are now separated for faster loading. So you may or may not have known that they were being combined, but what happened is that now it's a little more intuitive to understand if it's a semantic search result or if it's a standard search result. So we've got two separate types of search. I've covered the different types of search in my weekly newsletters. If you're not subscribed, there's a URL in the notes here that helps you kind of get up to speed with all of these new features and details. But semantic search is a different type of search than regular search, and you have access to both of them. They now run as separate queries. So here's an example. I ran a search in my account for custom field grid, and it gave me my standard search results immediately. Okay, so they're showing as you would expect in the pull down menu. And you can see over here that it's thinking. Okay, so I know this is a screenshot of it thinking, but this is where your semantic search results show up. And what it did is it separated out the fact that these ones for regular search were available while the semantic search was still, in essence, thinking. Okay, so I'm still getting results while I'm waiting for the semantic search, and I'm able to tell which search is being retrieved. All right, so let's just do that. I'm going to show you, like if I type Evernote, you can see that it quickly gave me Evernote matching results, and then these smart results or these semantic search results loaded very quickly as well, but they loaded separately. They used to load together and they were being loaded based on the slower of the two. So this is a really nice improvement. Again, one you might not have noticed, but makes a material difference as you're navigating the app. All right. So quick answer, semantic search. Okay. In addition, notice this little handoff. So this down here, which is the AI assistant, you may or may not have played with it. Your icon might look different. I'll get to that in a second. But down here in the corner is the semantic search, and it is related to your other search results. So if I do this here and I type Evernote, notice that it's giving me my results. It's giving me my semantic search results. And now I can pass off to the Evernote assistant this search. So I can hit ask it, and it put my search over here. And this isn't a very compelling query, so I don't expect really good results, but you can see that I can then seamlessly transfer it over to the AI assistant, which gives you the ability to kind of easily tap into these different types of tools that they're offering along the way. All right, so that's an improvement to the semantic search, is this handoff, as well as a separation of the performance on the different types of search. All right, AI assistant. That's this tool over here that we're looking at. It now has more intelligent responses with improved quality and performance. So they just continually are improving upon it. I have noticed that the responses and the clarification questions it asks are becoming a lot sharper. You can see an example here. I gave it a really general query, Evernote. What would you like to do with Evernote? Get started, troubleshoot, find something in your notes. And they gave me some suggestions, right? This is clearly an improvement to help me understand how to better use the AI assistant or get better results out of my queries. This is really key too. You may not have known that they are actually indexing only a certain number of your notes in your inquiries. And it used to be 24 when they first launched it. Now they've expanded that to up to 100 notes can be brought back as matching your query. And my understanding is that this may expand even more over time. This is something that is really indicative of how Evernote operates. They were going to release quickly and show the possibility of a feature, and then they're going to iterate on it. And so the ability to, ask about Evernote, and now let me just see, let's see, what notes do I have that are Evernote training documents? Okay, I would expect to have a lot. I am in a demo account, but it should see several of them. And you can see it's doing a search, and the results that it pulls up should not be limited to 24, right? So I've got 17 pages here of notes. It's going to pull up to 100, okay? You can now also create tasks here. So includes setting due dates and descriptions. Let's go ahead and do that. So create a new task to upload, or let's just see, to schedule the next Evernote training in the Academy. I want to accomplish this today. So let's see what it does. Okay, create a new task. Okay, so the task schedule new Academy Evernote training has been created. I created the task and it is set to do today. So if I go to view task, so it's set to do yesterday, I'll ask them about that. But I can correct it right there. And you can see that it at least is engaging with the task kingdom, if that is of interest. It also assigned a priority of high. So I'm not sure exactly why, but you can ask it to do pretty much all these things here. I can tell it to flag that. Let's see, please flag. Let's see if it does it. Please flag that task. Okay, let's view it. Yep, the flag is turned on. Okay, so I can engage with tasks through the AI assistant now as well. Voice dictation. Click a button to give your prompt by voice instead of typing. So you may notice this little icon down here. So if I want to talk to the AI assistant, I can do that. So let's say, do I have any notes on the AI assistant in my account? Okay, so it translates my voice into a text or into text that I can then ask the AI assistant, and it's going through the process of finding those notes. So that is a little option, and it found a bunch of, of notes in my account, not surprisingly. All right, bulk actions. So I like this. So now you can tag and move multiple notes at once. So we can use in theory, we can use the AI assistant to kind of organize notes around and move. I can say, find any recipes. Let's try a new one. Let's go to a new chat. Find Italian recipes. And let's see what it does. Hopefully I've got some. Okay, it's got a couple. So let's just assume this is correct. I don't know that it's correct, but I've only got 4. It doesn't look like it's actually fully correct. The word Italian shows up in my, or Italian recipes is an example I use in AI Assistant. But now I can say tag all of these notes with, and then let's see. I don't think I've got Italian in there. Let's see. Okay, here's my tags. So let's just call it cheesecake, okay? Demo purposes only. Let's tag them all with cheesecake. And it's gonna go and do that. I can tag them, but I'm missing one key piece. I need the tag entity for cheesecake, so I have its tag ID. Please type. Okay, so it didn't work great, but it's telling me how to fix it. That's what I did. All right. That's the idea. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay. So you can play around with that. And again, if this is needing to improve, it's something that they're kind of fast following on, and we'll see what happens. I can't apply the tag yet because the tag action failed. All right. So hit or miss, take it with a grain of salt. This kind of thing, they're quite quickly innovating on. That's the idea. And that's what it's supposed to do. All right, usage tracking and individual chats for your overall monthly usage limit. So now we have some information about the tokens that we're using. And if you're hitting your limit, this is something that resets on a monthly basis. So if you go up here now to token, you can see my AI assistant usage. I've used 1%, this chat usage 33%, and you can see details in settings. This is going to kick you over to the AI features settings, the AI assistant usage, and you can see how much you've used, resets monthly, of your percentage. So I've asked Evernote, they said they can't exactly, there's not an easy way to tell you your total token limit. That's not how it's structured, but they can tell you what percentage you're using at any point in time. So you can get an idea about that from the settings and preferences now. And then you can see here, it talks about what to do in the chat usage to ensure the best performance. Each conversation has a usage limit. When a chat reaches its limit, just start a new one. You can always revisit that in your history, which by the way is up here. You can always see your previous chat, right? Your chats. So you can look it up there. And that is a new option. All right. So you have a little more visibility into how much you're using the AI assistant as well. All right, let's move on. Editor updates. So these are always my favorite. The note editor. What can we do new in the note editor? So great innovation in terms of note links. So new link view modes. You can hover over a link to show a preview. So here's a link that I have put in my account. And when I hover over it, it gives me a preview of the note that I'm linking to. There's also a new mentions view. So this is really cool. So if I go here and I go to this, it's currently in mentions. And what you can see is that this is taking me over to another note. And if I give this a new note title, or let's say updated note title, and I go back to the note, because it's in mention mode, the title has been updated. Huge, huge improvement for those of us that use note links. This unlocks so much in terms of project management and being able to update notes and have the titles reflected on like summary notes and project management notes. We talk all about this in the Academy. Really nice feature. But we have this new mode that we've got an option for, and the ability to see a hover. And if there's an image or graphic in that note that you're linking to, that will show in the preview as well. Okay, link paste settings. Go to settings and enable ask every time when pasting a link. Choose between mention, title, text, or preview. Okay, so here's what this is referring to. Then I'll show you the setting. So let's just say I've got this. I'm going to copy a note link to my clipboard. Let's see. Let's see. Boom. Well, I'll show it to you. I'm going to copy the note link. Okay. I'm going to go back here. Watch what happens when I paste it. Okay, look at this little menu here. How do I want to paste the note link? Do I want it as a mention, a text, a title, or a preview? So you can choose what you want upon paste. And then if you go here and you go to your settings and you go to notes, under the link and attachments, you can see for the different link types, you can choose to ask every time, or you can choose your favorite. So for Evernote links, I like mentions. That's my personal choice. And now it will default to mentions. I can always override that using the setting that I just showed you on a case-by-case basis. But certainly in terms of the preferences, you can set one for what you like. Like if web links, you want to have variety and you want it to ask you every time, you can force that little thing to show up. And you've got different options here as well. All right. So play around with those settings. They're really cool. And then this is nice new functionality that helps us get the links exactly how we want them. Okay. So set a default link in mode for settings. I just showed you that. This is a screenshot of it as well. All right. And then just as a preview, there's 4 options. This is the exact same link in 4 different ways. This is the mention view. This is the same link as a text view. This is the link as a title view. You can see there. And then this is what, oops, let me go back. And this is here, the preview. All right. So lots and lots of variation, which gives us a lot of flexibility for different different workflows that we're using note links in. All right. Another new feature, multi-block dragging. Select multiple blocks and drag them all at once. So I've been working with Evernote on this. The way it's working today, as I'm showing this to you, I think it's a little rocky. I'll show you what it does. I expect it will improve over time. But let me just do this. Let me go here and collapse sections. I'm going to collapse all. So I've got these different sections, right? You see how when I hover over them, I'm going to turn off the Well, no, but you see how I could, the little grabber bars, right? And I can move things around. So what I want to do is hit this, and then I want to hit like the shift button and select multiple ones and have them move around. So let's just say I click here and I click here to have everything selected. I want to then, I think what the feature is trying to do is be able to then grab this and have both of them move. Not working that way right now. What you have to do is have it expanded. Let me pick that. You have to have it expanded, and then you have to have everything selected. So let me do that. So now I've got this selected. I'm going to just cursor up with my shift button, or let's see, pull it up to here. Pick there. Okay. Everything's selected. See that? Now that it's selected, I can, in theory, move this up and have both of those sections above this here. Okay. So it did work. Hopefully you saw that. You can watch the replay if it didn't, but you can see how those two sections got moved up, sort of. It's what you want it to do versus how it's actually working, I think is a little rocky, but I expect that it's going to get better. Okay. In theory, if you want them to move, you can open them, select everything that's in them, and then move those that are selected when they're open to another area on your screen. I want it to all move when they're collapsed. And I think that that's kind of coming right now, though. That's how it's working. Okay. Again, this is probably going to be one of those deploy and iterate kind of functions. All right. Add direct, my Academy members are loving this one. We can now add tasks directly to tables. So if you have a table and you want to organize your tasks, you can create a task, and I can call this, task 1. I'm just going to put task 1, task 2, and then I can go here and I could say task 3, task 4, task 5, task 6. Okay. So now we have the ability to have the tasks live inside a table, inside a note. So a lot of visual organization is what I'm finding most of my Academy members are enjoying about this feature. Like if you have things that you want to group by different phases in this example, that's a good use case, or related to maybe a different client. So you've got like a client to do, and you've got one client here, another client here, and you want to organize them. And these are all your tasks to do for today. On that note, you can put them within a table and have some visual organization. A lot of good feedback on this feature. People were very pleased with that. We also have some stronger emoji integration. So, I could always have launched the emoji menu. I did that with Control Command Spacebar on a Mac. The Windows command is going to be different, and I could enter my emoji that way. But now I just have to type the colon and E. So if I go E, and then I type happy. Let's see. How does it work? Well, it launches it. I don't know. I don't use that. But if I wanted to add the emoji there, I can. So you probably can filter them by typing. I'm not a big user of that, but certainly emojis in the note editor are nice. And now we have a keyboard, in essence, a keyboard shortcut. Oh, I typed 3 accidentally and it filtered it. So that's interesting. But that gives me the ability to access the emoji menu. So if you like emojis, you'll probably enjoy that. Okay, mobile camera. So I can't demonstrate this one live because my computer's hooked up here, but I did take some screenshots. I love this update. So the mobile camera has been modernized, easier to use, and the UI makes so much more sense. So the issue is that the scanning is immediately available when you open the camera, right? So the camera itself feels much more contemporary. And what we use our camera for, one of the main things I talk to Academy members about is using our camera to digitize paper, right? It's a huge opportunity to get paper out of our world and centralize that information into Evernote. So the scanning is immediately available when you open the camera now. It's very quick. So in addition, they've kind of promoted the business card scan option to be a little more visible. So many of you might know that it has kind of a smart business card camera. It can sense when it's a business card and then extract the data from it. How well that works is dependent on the card. And my example here is an example that shows that your card has to be pretty structured or else it doesn't work really well, but I'll just show it to you. So if you're on your create screen down here on mobile, you can scroll. If you're not seeing scan, you can scroll. So just swipe left on this and you'll see an option between camera and scan. So they renamed this. This is now called, it used to be auto, now it's a scan. And when you do that, you can hover over, and on scan, it'll just take a picture of whatever you automatically, and it'll crop and rotate and auto contrast. So here's a card. I blurred out the details. And then when you go to save the image, if you have business card selected right here, if you tap business card, it's going to actually attempt to extract the details from the card and put them here. It did a pretty poor job in this particular card. This is also a really difficult card for Evernote to read. Evernote really does well with when it's like a white or a high contrast card without like a lot of lines, and you can see the different details pretty clearly. But it did attempt to. You can play with it, see if it works well for your business cards, and go from there. But this business card option is something that is the innovation that they've done in the, making it visible here. You'll also see there's some nice little options here in terms of rotating and cropping. And I love this adjust option here. So you can have some lines. So here's another example. When you get the scan, if you hit adjust, you can actually like change what it considers the edges of the document. Really powerful. People who've used Scannable for a long time are familiar with this. And if you've used other third-party scanners, it's nice to finally see this inside the Evernote app, and definitely do play around with it. There's also some different modes and other contemporary camera things that make the camera much more effective, crisper, sharper, and faster. So lots of great innovations there, and something to look at for sure. And then I did a newsletter on this recently. So we'll drop this. We can drop this in the chat or in the show notes below to help you kind of understand a little bit more about the innovations that have happened in the camera as well. All right. All right, a couple of other quick things. Revamped creation buttons in the sidebar on desktop. So they're talking about these up here. These little buttons, they redid the look and feel of them. And there's always a more actions menu as well. There's also some settings here that control that you can decide. Let's see, sometimes sidebar here. So do you want the show, task, and event creation buttons on or not? Notice that when I turn this on or off, you can toggle it on or off. Those are your choices, but they just have a little bit of a new look and feel. Okay, this is cool. Multi-tab on desktop. So you probably explored this. You need to be on the most current desktop version to have access to this. So you'll want to be sure that you are, but multi-tab on desktop. So you can see I've got tabs up here in the interface. And for those of you that are longtime Evernote users, you probably remember this feature if you are on a Mac. So back in the day, back in legacy day, the Evernote team would develop in silos. So there was a Mac team and there was a Windows team, and the features were divergent on the desktop app because of that in some cases. And this is one of them. So Mac users had access to this tabbed interface. Windows users never did. Then with version 10, all of that went away, and every feature that was released was available on both platforms, and tabs didn't make the cut. It's now back in version 11, and people are loving it. Okay, so you can open notes, and pretty much you can open anything that you navigate to on the sidebar up here in a tab. And you can flip between the different tabs really easily. You have some, and you can work across multiple tabs at once. So there's lots of ways to open a tab. They cover all of these in the video that they do, but you can see there's like a little plus icon here, lots of entry points. This is responding to the setting that I have. There is a setting that you can choose. So when I open a new tab, do you want to start on the home, start on notes, or start on notebooks? So you can see that this is a bug. I've actually reported this, and it's fixed. They told me it's fixed in the next release, I think. But here, it started on notebooks when I opened a new tab. So it started on notebooks, even though my preference is set for start on home. So you can choose which of these three, and hopefully by the time anybody watching this replay sees it, it'll be fixed. And if you change this, it should adhere to your setting. But if not, you can always just navigate to what it is that you want in your account, and you'll see that it retains that, and you have different tabs. We can also move the tabs around and organize them to priority. And we can, in the note list here, you can open in a new tab. There's a key command for it as well. So lots of entry points for working with these different tabs. Really good stuff. Okay. So from a kingdom too. So like if I'm in the notebooks kingdom, I can open that kingdom in a new tab. Calendar, I can open in a new tab. So play around with that, and makes for easy navigation and an alternative way to navigate. Some of you might like opening notes in their own window. That's an option too. You have to kind of decide, pick and choose what works best for you. But this is a whole new option that people are loving. And as I mentioned, there's several keyboard shortcuts. So the keyboard shortcuts vary by platform. This is what they list in their video. But the thing to do is you want to go to help, and you want to go to keyboard shortcuts for your platform, and then just type tabs. And it'll filter them and show you the options for your operating system that are the key commands for the tabs. And this is a brand new feature, very well received. I expect additional development will come on it. I know they're already cooking up some things behind the scenes that are frequent asks, and I expect we'll see innovation on this over time. But for right now, that's kind of what we got. This red icon indicator, I love this. So this is actually back up with the AI meeting notes. Let's go here. Let's just say I'm creating a new note and I'm going to record a remote. Okay, so now it's recording the session. Look what it did up here. It is I have an indicator that this tab and this note contain an active recording. Okay, nice visual indicator, certainly helping me to remember that I've got something going on, but also allows me to kind of multitask. So I could maybe be over here taking notes while this is recording and going on. I love that. Really nice red indicator on the tab. Drag and drop to reorder the tab order. I showed you that already. And then click on the X right here to kind of close it. I don't want to close that, but let's say I want to close the calendar or this notebook list. I can do that. Okay. Really great stuff. And a nice evolution of the functionality of the desktop app. Currently, it's only on desktop. I don't expect it to come to web. We already have tabs in the browser. You just open different notes in different browser windows, and I haven't heard of any plans to bring this to mobile. So I expect that it's going to be a desktop feature for now as well. All right, so that is what they covered. They did give a little bit of a hint on some coming soon items. I would expect that we're going to see these covered in Evernote's April release when they do that, probably first week in May. Okay, floating TOC. Some of them are already available though. Have you all noticed this over here? This floating table of contents. So many of my customers are seeing this and I'm loving it. So if you're using headers, I could have put in, let me just show you, table of contents. I could have put this in and it would hyperlink to all of my headers, but it maps to what you have over here. And this has changed how I do this. I'm not using this feature anymore. I am instead, I love this floating table of contents, right? So let me just delete this out. But over here, I have the ability to kind of navigate to all my header options that are in this note. I'm using this for training inside the Academy. I'm going through and outlining everything. And then we just kind of hop around using this. There's also, you'll notice here in your settings, under notes, under focus, you have, is it focus? Oh, floating table of contents. So you're going to have, you can put it on the left of the note, right of the note, or if you don't want it at all, you can turn it off. Okay. I like it on the right. Hopefully you can all see it. I know that the way the interface works here, that my headshot is covering like the AI assistant stuff. I don't have the ability to move that around. So I'll have to keep that in mind next time I demo AI assistant, but hopefully you can see the table of contents here, get a feel for it. And inside the Academy, I don't have that constraint. My face is not covering the different features. The interface gives a lot more flexibility. All right. What else? AI custom prompts. So they're going to continue to evolve the AI assistant. They're going to give us different entry points to it so that we've got better access to it and more customability over the transcriptions and summarizations. So a lot of words. We'll see what happens when it actually comes out. I'll be happy to cover the details as they get released. Auto tagging. So I love this. These next three, these are AI innovations: auto tagging, attachment captioning, and AI title generation. I am really excited about these. One of the things that I know is that accounts don't stay organized because people do not what I call title and file their notes. So titling, they're going to be able to generate suggested titles from the contents of your notes, which is going to be a huge help to setting up these search options, namely AI assistant, semantic search, your regular such, or your regular search. These are all going to be helped by having a really descriptive title added to notes. And it looks like they're going to do that for captioning. And then those of you that use tagging have the option to auto tag for suggestions on tags to add to your notes. That may be a huge assist in terms of what I call micro efficiencies and a lot of the little nuanced work that it takes to keep a account organized. So look for that. Mobile editor improvements. So we just talked about the note editor for desktop and some of the new features there. They're doing some visual UI designs. I've seen an early release of this for mobile. I love it. You're going to love it too. And we'll talk about it next time as soon as it's released. Sounds like it's coming soon. And then more improvements to AI Assistant and AI meeting notes. I love that. I can tell you my personal request. I'm forgetting to turn this off a lot when the meeting is over. So I want to have a little better strength in being prompted. I think they're working on that. They know that that's a need. And I've got my fingers crossed that we see some innovation there. And then this one here, option to change the AI assistant icon from the elephant logo MADS. Oh, this is funny. Okay, it deleted that accidentally. I'll show you that in a second. Instead of the other icon. So you notice here, no, you do not notice. Okay, I'm going to fix that. Oh, good. I didn't spoil the surprise, but I will show you. Okay, here we go. That's really what I should do in the future is make sure that it's shrunk a little. Okay, so the AI assistant is accessible down here. Open the AI assistant. You notice the icon. My icon is an elephant. So I have you may or may not have this. It's rolling out pretty quickly. But in the settings under AI features, AI assistant icon, this is the default that's coming. But if you want to change it to MADS, that's the name of the elephant, MADS. That has always been the name of the logo. You can. So that is just a small, fun preference. Okay. All right. That is what is new. I will go ahead and answer your questions. But before I do that, I want to let you know that obviously this is an ongoing process and you have two ways to kind of keep learning. I offer a free weekly newsletter. If you're not subscribed already, I cover so many of these things. It is education rich. Okay. So just go to harmonenterprises.com/newsletter to sign up. I send it every Monday. And I'm trying to educate you on, right now I'm in a capture series that talks about like all these AI features. They're pretty cool. They're also pretty new, but they don't work if the stuff that you want it to work on isn't already in Evernote. So we got to talk about how we get stuff in Evernote frictionlessly and easily so that these AI tools can really have a lot of power for you. But I talk about all kinds of things and great way to kind of keep up with what's new. Like I just talked about the new tabs interface and all of that last week. All right, then if you are interested in starting your account fresh and going to a clean baseline, I have a live challenge that I'm running next week, April 13th to 19th. It's just $49 to participate. And you're welcome to join me. We'll take your account from kind of a cluttered mess to something that is tidy and neat and gets you positioned to understand what it takes to keep your account that way moving forward. It works so well. I ran it in December in this live challenge format, and the results were dramatically different than a self-paced course. And if you're interested in that, we'll make sure you have the link to that as well. All right, I'll look at your questions and we will go through that. I'm going to look at my other screen. All right. Okay, so I'm noticing somebody said that tabs, they can't find anything referring to tabs in Evernote. Is this available in Windows? So the tabs feature is available in Windows, but you have to be on the latest version of Evernote if you are not already, and you have to be on the desktop version of Evernote. So let me just pull something up for you and show you how to make sure that you're there. This is one of the core understandings. You have to be here. If you go to Evernote and you go to download, and you download their free desktop app, you download it for your operating system. And you'll want to make sure you're on the most current one. You can force it to be the most current by going to this page and downloading, and then you should see tabs. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, a couple more minutes. Let's see. What's the purpose of specifying when opening a new tab starts is notes, homes, or notebooks? And why do my tabs disappear when I change my view from notes to a notebook? So I covered that. The setting, you have an option for what is supposed to default when you open a new tab. As I indicated, I think that it's buggy, but that's it. You're supposed to be able to decide, by default what you want to open if you open a new blank tab. Okay. And then why do your tabs disappear when I change my view from notes to a notebook? I don't know. I'm not sure, Susan. But we can talk about that inside the Academy for sure. Go into deeper and troubleshoot that. I haven't had that experience. Let's see if there's any other final questions. Kim. Okay, another question. Any idea when Apple Calendar will be integrated into the Evernote calendar? Yeah, we talk about this quite a lot. So I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. What you're going to want to do is tell Evernote that you want that. Volume of requests is a factor in how quickly it makes it on the roadmap. And Evernote has changed direction on this. They've actually publicly stated that they are not actively pursuing it. There apparently is not easy to do. And the expense and development effort required to do it, the perception is from Bending Spoons, to my understanding, again, I don't work for Bending Spoons, so I don't have access to the roadmap, but the perception is that the expense and effort required to develop the Apple integration is beyond the impact it would have on the majority of the user base. So they need to hear if you want this. That could change their opinion. And obviously technology changes and evolves over time. So that they could change their position on that. But I don't think it's actively on the roadmap. There are workarounds. I cover them in the Academy. We talk about that so that you can access the calendar feature and get a middleman between your Apple Calendar and Google Calendar, Apple and Evernote. And then obviously you can use the Evernote calendar without having a third-party calendar. We cover all that training inside the Academy as well. Okay. And this is a great question to end on. I'll end here. Will the 4-day challenge be for beginners who want to get organized? And I've been using Evernote for 11 years, but I need a review of the basics, I think. It's perfect for this. So it's not beginners, I wouldn't say is the right word. I'd say if you've collected notes in your account, you're going to get something out of this. This is absolutely about the foundations of how to get your account tidy and what it takes to deal with those basic foundational elements in Evernote. Certainly, I've got all levels that are in there. I mean, I've got people who know a ton about Evernote and they've gone through the challenge and they inevitably tell me they picked up something new. All my Academy members are invited to join the challenge for free. And there's so many of them that go through it to revisit those basics and get back to the foundations that work. So regardless of your skill level, it's a great opportunity to kind of have some accountability and coaching around best practices and get your account kind of reset to a tidy baseline. You'll achieve that over the course of the challenge. So hope that helps. All right. I'll end with this last question. I only have mobile. How crucial is it to get and learn to use Mac? So I think the question's about, obviously Evernote's great just on mobile, but the real power in using Evernote for project management comes from using the desktop app. That's really where you unlock a lot of features, but certainly it's amazing on the mobile device and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's really just about what you're trying to do. This is one of the things we talk about inside the Academy all the time. It's an education and it's a workflow process. They both have merit. And those that are using Evernote like I do to run our whole life, both my personal life, my business life, the caretaking I do for my mom, everything is done in Evernote. And I run it all mostly using the power features that I have access to through the desktop app. So you certainly can use it on mobile. I advocate using it on mobile, but whether or not you use desktop, something I always encourage. If you're going to go through the Starting Fresh with Evernote challenge, you do want to use the desktop machine. That's one of the things that is going to make it a success for you because we're going to be organizing a lot of information and organizing is best done on the desktop. All right. Thank you for being here. I do this after Evernote releases an update. I'll go through and give you guys kind of the full scoop and hopefully a more educational or, a more demonstration oriented focus. Also gives you a taste of kind of how I teach and hopefully teaches you something about how to use Evernote just a little better, especially those new features. So hope you got something out of it. And thank you for being here. Hope to see you again next time. And join the mailing list if you want to get those details on a weekly basis. It's honestly the best way to learn for free from me. All right. Thanks for being here. See you next time.